Brand new tactic for you guys today. My 4-3-3 deception. Why deception? Because there's no strikers. So let's jump right in, get right into it. Welcome back everyone. I'm Anthony, aka Tuffy on the Tube. Like I said before, brand new tactic for you guys today. 4-3-3 deception. No strikers in this one. A little bit different to what I'm normally used to. As always, a little bit of a disclaimer. I have chose the Championship to kind of test this tactic in. As everyone knows, it's quite a tough league. I think it's up there in the kind of top 7 or 8 kind of leagues in the in Europe at the moment, I think. And the team I've gone for is the one close to my heart, my hometown club, season ticket holder, Sunderland. So if you follow Championship football, you know a little bit about Sunderland. You probably do know that we haven't got a striker. We played the majority of last season without one, after selling up arguably our best striker to Southampton in Ross Stewart. Didn't really replace him, so we did struggle. So this is quite apt. I think that I've chose a strikerless system for this club. Maybe if they kind of maybe followed this tactic, we could have done a lot better than we did last season. But I think it's a good tactic all around. Not something I'd normally play myself, which I quite like to do. Like I say, I always like to leave a little bit for you guys to kind of take this tactic up, make it your own, improve it. As always, as we go through, I'll offer some ideas how to maybe make it a little bit more aggressive in certain areas and a little bit more defensive in others. Kind of way I play this, as always, I put my tactic in, go on holiday, hand the team over to the assistant manager, and he does the rest. There's no training schedules, no set piece schedules, just my tactic. So when I try and create this, I try and create it balanced. So it's neither not too aggressive, not too defensive. That's the hope anyway. So hopefully I find a tactic that's kind of balanced, and then obviously I offer suggestions how we can make it a bit more aggressive in areas or a little bit more defensive in others if it's a little bit too aggressive. And like I say, I like to leave a little bit for you guys to maybe take this tactic up if you choose and make it your own. And if you do, please get back to me. Drop a comment. How have you made my tactics better? If you follow any of them, have you changed certain things? Have you changed certain styles? It's like I say, I've said before, these tactics I sometimes put on aren't your 100 goal a season ones maybe, or your kind of league destroys if you like. I don't pick your PSGs, your Man Cities to try these with. I do kind of try and pick a club that's maybe not down to maybe win the league or even first or second or third. Sunderland, for example, media prediction was 7th. So I think as you say that probably overachieved. I think that's my main aim. I try and pick a tactic on to say a team overachieve, obviously score goals, defend really well. I like balance. I don't like to score 130 goals a season but then concede 90. It's kind of a little bit pointless for me. So I always try to find that balance. So we'll jump right into it. First of all, we'll see what kind of goals we can score with this, and then we'll talk a little bit more about where we finished and the tactic itself. As you can see there, some really fantastic kind of variation of goals. One thing I did notice was the kind of overloading the opposition box. Kind of saw kind of 5 people in the box there with this tactic, which is not bad considering there's no strikers. So you're still getting your attacking players in there, your wide players, which we'll discuss a little bit further. But also you've got kind of players at the edge of the box kind of stepping up as well, offering that support and really pinning the opposition back. You saw them in that kind of defending numbers. A lot of the goals were kind of scored from range, kind of outside the box. So it's certainly something to think about, this tactic if you have those good attacking midfielders who can kind of shoot from range, good long shots. But really kind of, like I say, a fantastic kind of variation of player. You can see, looking at the kind of schedule, really good run of form. Nothing really kind of standing out too much, kind of really good runs, few draws, a few blips here and there. You see, I did tweak the tactic once or twice, and I'll explain that a little bit later. You see, looking at this here, overall, really, really happy with kind of how the tactic played out. Everyone knows the Championship is a lot of games played, really long season. Sunderland, maybe not a team with that much squad depth either. Like I said, I didn't sign any players to bulk the squad up. I thought about maybe bringing a few up from the youth just to kind of give it a bit more options for the assistant manager. So you see, you've got the kind of a tough league with about 40 games, I think, in the Championship. FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Like you see, there's kind of a long season, this really, really tough league. And I think, looking at this kind of so far, I think you can see kind of where we're probably heading towards in the league. Scheduled to finish 7th, but if we head over and find out where we actually finished, we did actually win the league. Went up as champions, 98 points, very close. You can see there wasn't much in it between ourselves and arguably 4th. Mills were just behind us there, 3 points behind. So really, really kind of, I'm happy with that. Quite honestly, considering I had nothing to do with it. I always say you can probably tweak a few more points out, I think, if you kind of manage the game yourself. Like I say, I didn't. Give it all to my assistant manager. Like I say, we'll talk about that a bit further, but we delve into this a little bit deeper. Have a look at the kind of season preview. You can see there, actually 4th, but I think initially the media had us finishing 7th. Looking at the stages, played 46, won 29, drawn 11, lost only 6 all season, which I think it is good. I mean, compared to some of the teams near your Southamptons, your Leeds, Leicester, these kind of big clubs for this division. A lot of money, massive wage budget, pushed them all the way, and like you see, and obviously went up as champions. I'm really happy with that, to be quite honest. Like you see, I lost only 6, scored 86. Okay, somewhere behind Southampton. Probably around about the other teams there as well. Not too far away from the likes of kind of Middlesbrough, Leeds. So kind of on par with them. Now, the big surprise for me was the goals against, 32. Really, really defensive, this compared to kind of some of them. I think the closest to us were 43 a game with Southampton. So kind of maybe 10, 11 goals better than them defensively. Goal difference of 54 and 98 points. Really kind of happy with that. Like you see, but a league this tough, and for me, not really controlling the majority of it. I couldn't really ask for more than that. So we'll take a little look at the data hub. In fact, no, sorry, we won't go at conditions. We'll have a look at the FA Cup. Knocked semi-finals, the FA Cup. Not a bad run at all. And you may have seen the goal highlights. You may realise that we played kind of Man City. Actually got to the final. That actually hasn't been played yet. It'd be interesting to see who would win that. But we go back. I think we went out in the semis, was it? So we beat Luton in the quarters. Knocked out with Palace in the semis. And I think in the 4th round, we beat Man City. We beat Man City 1-0, which is not bad. Not a bad result, that. Yeah, not too bad. Didn't disgrace ourselves either. Held our own. So certainly not a bad tactic, It's a Man City beater, so you can take that all day. That's not bad. Semi-finals of the year. Cup, very unlucky not to go through. I think kind of against Palace. But again, decent team, Premier League team as well. Carabao Cup, knocked out in the 3rd round by Arsenal. Again, I'm not too disappointed in that either. You never really look for a cup win when you're in the kind of Championship with a club like ours. You're kind of hoping just to, as we did, get promoted. So we'll head over to the data hub to have a little look at our kind of general performance. 1.87 goals per game. Again, not bad. I will show you spots where we can maybe increase that slightly. Hopefully get a few more, score a few more goals, be a bit more aggressive in certain areas. Non-penalty expected goals, 1.44 per game. Conceded only 0.7 goals a game. Really defensive. I'm really surprised with that. I thought this was quite an aggressive tactic. And when I certainly started out, it really was. And I did have to dial that back a little bit. Again, I'll explain that a little bit down the line when we discuss the tactic. So expected goals per game were 0.96, so we exceeded that. 11.26 shots per game. Shots on target, not great, 46.33. That maybe some of the players I had, maybe they were taking a lot more kind of long shots from outside the area. Something you can maybe focus on and maybe try and dial that back a little bit and refine it. Pass completion was high, 89.48. And tackles one's up there as well at 78.43. Overall, it's a solid tactic. I think you'll have to agree. Just under 2 goals per game. Like I say, I like to see that a little bit higher if I'm being a little bit critical. But really defensively solid. And I think if you're that defensively solid, you still expect to average over a goal a game. You can see you're going to win leagues, you're going to win trophies, and you can always kind of refine that a little bit further. So we'll head right over to our squad just to see kind of how the players themselves performed. I was like to see the goals. This again surprises me. Pierre Ekwa on 15 goals, and you'll see that later when we discuss the tactic. Why I'm a little bit shocked. 15 goals, 5 assists. Jack Clark behind him on 13 goals. Elliot Embleton is a player I probably wouldn't have played myself. In that position, I think he was probably getting played in, but 13 goals for the season, not too bad. 12 for Bellingham, 10 for Dak, then 9 for Barr, 8 for O'Sheesh. Patrick Roberts on 7. Maybe seen it, but I expect to see a little bit more from him. I think Dewey was obviously away on loan, Jewson Bennett. 4 for Styles, and you got your 3. So everyone chipping in all the way down the line, down to even Dan Ballard. Again, if you're putting at a set piece setup, you might see a bit more from your defenders, squeezing a few more goals out. But I don't think that's bad, that really. No one's obviously blown it away. Like you see Pierre Ekwa, a little bit strange because he's like a central midfielder. So maybe you could look to get a bit more out of your wide players. Should Jack Clark have been getting a lot more? Should Patrick Roberts have got a lot more? Something we can talk about in the tactic itself. Assist-wise, Patrick Roberts, clearly okay, didn't score the goals, but 17 assists for the season is outstanding. Trey Hume on 9. Quite surprisingly, it was him like right back. Barr 8, Bellingham 7, Dan Neal 6, and Jack Clark, Ekwa and Anderson on 5. Oh, sorry, Anderson was away on loan, don't discount him. Pembele 4, Huggins Embleton. Again, could maybe have a look at that. If obviously Roberts was clearly the main force, creative force. Behind him from then, though, not anyone reaching double figures. So quite slightly concerning, maybe. So I'm not sure where all the chances of getting created, if we're just purely from that right-hand side. Certainly something to maybe have another look at. Maybe that's coming, maybe they're creating their own chances. The ball's come to them outside the box. Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, though, it's fairly evenly distributed, to be honest. Kind of through your central midfield, Jack Clark on the left-hand side there. You kind of wing backs as well, chipping in with a few assists. So maybe not all that bad. I just think it's I like to see a little bit more of a gap closed between Roberts and the rest. But overall, looking good. Like you say, I'm quite happy with that. And like you say, with the team I've got, no striker, I'm happy. So I'm quick look at a few team stats in. Most points per game, ourselves, 2.13. Most goals, 4th. Not too bad. I'm quite happy with that. See, we can always make that a bit more aggressive. Shots against, we're 4th as well, which I think is great. Shows how defensively solid our tactic was. Best pass completion, 7th. Most possession, 6th again. Not too bad, to be quite honest with you. Not the most, obviously by any stretch of imagination, but yeah, I'm happy with that. It's probably not a tactic that relies on possession. You know, we're kind of probably more kind of getting that ball back, get up the pitch, get it wide. So yeah, fairly happy with that. Most tackles, 1. Yeah, some way off that by the looks of it, not even in the top 8. Most dribbles, 4th ourselves, which is, I think, was happy with that again. Most clean sheets, ourselves there, 23 in total. That's not bad, that I'm quite happy with that. And the fewest conceded, which I think we already kind of knew. A few little player stats in. Most assists, Patrick Roberts, kind of 15 in the league there. Other than that, Anthony Patterson, most clean sheets. So maybe kind of maybe a few kind of areas we can maybe improve on here. Like say saves held, Anthony Patterson again. Anthony obviously solid at the back. Chances created, 28, Patrick Roberts. Passes attempted, Luke 09. Yeah, same faces really. Kind of Trey Hume, red cards. Not a great one to have. So yeah, I think there's definitely kind of improvements to be made here in this kind of tactic. Certain areas, certain players, and we'll probably just discuss that a little bit more as we get into the tactic there next. So the tactic itself then, 4-3-3 deception. As you can see, he's been talking about no strikers. Still quite wide though. Fairly aggressive, and it could be better, as we'll discuss in certain spots. But we'll go through the team, talk about some of the roles, so talk about things I'd maybe change, and then we'll go from there. So as always, sweeper keeper. Quite simply, no other PIs on him there. Sweeper keeper on support. Very simple, pretty standard. For this one, I chose a fullback on support on the right, purely because it's Trey Hume. Really good kind of fullback. I did try the inverted fullback with a libero here. I had 09 as a libero at one point, and Trey Hume as an inverted fullback. Didn't really feel it was working. It wasn't balanced enough. Certainly good option at home, maybe, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive. Kind of have Hume drop back a bit and have 09 push on and have like a double pivot there with Dan Neil. But I think it was maybe slightly too aggressive. Although, to be fair, at that point as well, I think I had 2 shadow strikers as well instead of just one. So maybe I was a little bit out of balance, a bit too aggressive up top, a bit too aggressive in defence, and maybe getting hit too much on the counter or something like that, too many players out of position, even with kind of Trey Hume dropping back. So certainly something you maybe want to experiment with, see if you can maybe get that working. Certainly something I'd maybe try at home if you want to be a little bit more aggressive. But it worked well for me. Trey Hume at fullback. See, great rating, great tackle percentage, great defensive stats. Yeah, a little bit of pace on him. Not necessarily a wing back, but a good solid fullback. So centre backs, quite simple. Centre back on defend for both Ballard and 09. Again, at home, you want to be more aggressive, make these ball playing defenders. Certainly 09 and Ballard can play that role quite well. Like you say, make it a bit more aggressive, get that ball to the pitch a little bit more, maybe try and create a little bit more. Certainly get an idea at home. Away, I would probably keep my centre backs on defend. No need to get too aggressive, I don't think. PIs for them, quite simply, just tackle harder. On the left, wing back on support. This is going to give me that little bit more kind of width, if you like. Although, to be fair, thinking about it, the way maybe Hume was supplying Roberts for assists, it may be worthwhile having Serkin as a fullback as well, something you could try and see if he has the same effect on Clark. I just noticed with Roberts having 17 assists, Clark maybe having slightly less at 7, was kind of Serkin maybe doing a lot more of that kind of overlapping and maybe getting the crosses in, taking maybe some of that creativity away from Clark. So maybe it might not be a bad idea to try that as a fullback, just to see what happens, see if you do get more out of your kind of your attacking midfielder on the left. Certainly something to think about, but I had a wing back on support. Again, quite simply tackle harder, very simple. Moving up then into the midfield, 4-3-3, DM on defend, and Dan Neil. Again, very simple, just tackle harder on. Didn't want to kind of overcomplicate this. He has a decent passing range on him, Dan Neil, so you could maybe improve that by kind of be a bit more aggressive in the passing, a bit more kind of direct, if you like. Get them balls out quicker to the wide men, play through the middle. Like you see, he has got that creativity, so it could very easily be a deep line playmaker if you wanted on defend as well. Again, maybe at home, if you want a little bit more, let's say, slightly more aggression, slightly more creativity. Deep line playmaker on defend. Or even a defensive midfielder on support, if you like. If you're really going for it at home, really feels like you can dominate that team who you're up against. So moving up again then into the midfield, classic 4-3-3, that little diamond kind of shape in the middle. Start with Mazzala. In this case, Jude Bellingham, again, very simple, tackle harder. The idea again, I had 2 Mazzalas on here initially when I was kind of jigging this around when I first dropped around this style. The idea was just kind of come up off support up to here, to these kind of wide players. Obviously, I'll have Roberts coming into here, Clark coming into here, and the idea, again, you'll probably see it in kind of the goals we scored where you had 5 people around the box. So these guys were up here as well in the channels. Job up here, and obviously yeah, just creating. I mean, but naturally by default, Mazzala drops in them channels anyway. Box-to-box midfielder. Kind of wanted this to be, again, running at the channels. So I've got him on stay wider as well. Again, offering support up to these kind of attacking players. And you saw it in the goals. 5 in the box, overloading that box. Kind of players supporting on the outside of the box as well, looking for them loose balls. So his PIs, tackle harder, stay wider, and shoot less often. I kind of put that on, yet he still ended up pretty much our top scorer of the season. So, yeah, pointless having that on really, because I think he was still shooting from everywhere he could. But to be fair, his traits did say, gets forward whenever possible, shoots from distance, plays 1-2s. But played that role really well. 13 goals for the season. Who am I to argue? Like you say, got us the goals. Kind of over the moon. So, yep, so they're kind of my 2 midfielders. Like I said, I did try 2 Mazzalas, maybe a little bit too aggressive. They were constantly up there. That box-to-box gives you that little bit more of a defensive option midfield as well. You can see up and down there. So moving on to the inverted big on attack on the right. Again, very aggressive. Wanted me forwards to be kind of aggressive. I thought I had enough defensively behind them. Like I said, I wasn't doing anything crazy now. Didn't have a libero bombing forward. I didn't have a, I've got wing backs on attack. I've got me box to box in midfield and me Mazzala both on support. Kind of just offering that kind of, like I say, not overly aggressive or certainly not in my mind, just enough to kind of hang back around that box. So one of these to kind of really drive at players, cause that panic in the box, really kind of run into these kind of channels here, that kind of natural motion. Both him and Clark, both on attack. Again, very simple, shoot less often, sit narrower and tackle harder. I did try these out to sit wider, hoping to maybe stretch the play and have them cut right in again, but didn't really seem to work. I didn't really seem to be creating enough at all, and they just didn't really seem to be scoring or clicking. So I changed that to kind of sit narrower, brought them into these channels again, so to quickly drive in. Like see, obviously with these kind of players coming out here, just seem like a kind of like a natural option. You can see if these coming in here, Job coming out here this side, and again similar to Clark coming in here, and Ekwar kind of operating that position here as well as like support. Seemed to work really well. Again, I probably wouldn't change as much at all, whether home or away. You want that kind of striking options. You want that kind of aggressiveness, and probably quite the same with these two as well. I don't think I'd probably change this as much, even away from home. Probably still have a Mazzala. Maybe if you want to be a little bit more defensive, you could try dropping Bellingham or someone in this role to a box-to-box maybe with similar stats. Maybe give that a bit more kind of tackling ability, I suppose, and maybe close a few players down. Help out a bit more defensively, whereas Mazzala tends to just want to roam up here and that's it. Definitely different options. But you see we have Patrick Roberts again, like I said, shoot less often, sit narrower, tackle harder. Exactly the same with Clark. Exact same PIs, same aggression. Shoot less often, sit narrower, tackle harder. In the centre, it has to be the shadow striker. Like you say, you need someone aggressive. You want someone to kind of, take more risks, get further forward. Also move into channels. Like you say, yeah, has to be a shadow striker. Shoot less often, tackle hard was the PIs. I think there's obviously we had O'Shea here at the moment, but 5 goals, 3 assists. I think we also had a kind of Hamilton as well in that role. Probably not the player I'd have chose. I would have maybe had Job up here and maybe drop some like O'Shea or Hamilton in that Mazzala role. But as you can see, fairly balanced, fairly compact. You can probably see why we conceded very few goals. I think there was definitely goals to be had, a bit more aggressive in certain areas. Maybe I could see having kind of, certainly at home, I think we probably didn't hammer that kind of advantage enough. Maybe we could drop a few points as well. Maybe we could have been a bit more aggressive. Wing backs on attack maybe, full back on attack. DM on support or deep line playmaker maybe to really kind of get those balls flowing. Maybe ball playing defenders as well. Get the players to come up, make passes. Be a bit more creative maybe. But this is kind of where I found the balance to be. Like I say, by all means, take this tactic, make it your own, push it to see where you think you can maybe get some more points out of it. And it'd be lovely to hear back from you. And actually, maybe a good point actually for me to say just a big thank you, and obviously for everyone supporting the channel. Up to 74 subscribers now, which is just getting more and more kind of each week. Great feedback on the other tactics as well. A lot of likes, a lot of comments. Really appreciate it. Kind of 1,200 views on one of my tactics, which is just insane. But see, if you are enjoying the content, please drop a like. Subscribe if you can. It does help the channel. Helps me kind of grow and make more content. But we'll continue on with this tactic then. So mentality, positive as always. it's always how I like to have my tactics set up. Attacking width, I went for fairly narrow. I went to kind of keep that ball, a bit more possession. Pass into space, kind of good, kind of like wide players, quick, pacey, tricky. Want to get the ball to them. Certainly as well with your shadow striker. Get the ball over the top, get him into the channels, as they do. Focus player then, play out of defence, as always. That's how kind of attack start. Focus player through the middle. Got 3 kind of players in there, creative players. Utilise them. Let them pass the ball out. Passing directness, went for shorter and slightly higher tempo. Again, at home, can maybe be a bit more aggressive and go higher. I found the right balance between home and away was slightly higher. Worked ball in the box, I did have off. I had low crosses on. Again, if you're creating too many chances, but not really kind of converting them, click that on by all means. I just found that when I did that, I just didn't seem to be creating as much. I wasn't really scoring as many goals, so I kind of let that be. I think that's probably why I probably saw so many goals scored from outside the box and from range. Certainly, I think if you had a better quality of maybe inside forwards, attack midfielders, shadow striker, you could maybe kind of refine that a bit more and have them work that ball in the box a little bit more. Probably why Ecuador scored so many goals as well. So moving on, dribbling, run at defence. Again, had kind of Roberts and Clark on the wings. Kind of a decent shadow striker as well with a good bit of pace and flair. So it was only kind of natural for me to kind of utilise that and have them run at the defenders a lot more. And I think, like you say, I'm not having that striker. You want to kind of drive the ball into the box. I always think you're creating a bit of panic. You probably saw that there with how the opposition team had to defend with a lot of the players back. I think that was down to kind of the creative players causing them problems. Again, be more expressive. I think I had the players to do that. A few players had a really good passing, good vision. Again, Clark and Roberts on the wings. Very kind of technical, tricky players. A lot of flair, a lot of ability. So that was just me utilising that, I think, and want my players to kind of really create a lot more chances. Like I said, I didn't want to be too defensive and too kind of compact. I want them to kind of really create. So moving on then, counter press, counter, as always, pretty standard. Distribute to fullbacks, distribute to centre backs, and take short kicks. Nice and simple, very straightforward. Out of possession then. Now, this is where I would probably change it quite a lot. You'll see how I've got the high press on and the standard defensive line. I did have a good success with a higher defensive line and a much higher one. I did try both. I found I was doing really well against the bigger teams, getting some good results. Certainly at home, again, definitely. Away is where I found I struggled. And away, strangely against kind of the smaller kind of teams I should be being beaten. So maybe I was getting hit on the counter a bit too much, being a bit too aggressive, that higher line. Just found it very inconsistent. So I just dropped it back, kept the kind of standard defensive line. And again, that's where I found the balance across both home and away. Home, my tip would definitely be get much higher, be really aggressive, certainly against the teams you know you can dominate. And again, that's where you probably see a lot more goals coming in. Probably kind of find you winning your home games by a bigger margin. Maybe start off the games like this and test the water. If you grab a couple of early goals, go 2-3-0 up, then maybe drop it back to kind of a standard defensive line. Maybe kind of work it that way. Tidy up yourself. But at home, definitely more aggressive. Away, definitely more defensive. Standard line. Trigger press much more often. Prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Get stuck in and step up more. Again, not something I kind of tend to use a lot. And I know, again, I'm probably contradicting myself because I've said in other videos, I either have tackle harder or get stuck in. But I did want this to be really kind of aggressive. Get that ball back. Get stuck in, basically. And get a pass into space. And hopefully, almost like a bit of a counter-attack him, if you like. And like I say, I think it worked. Maybe I should have had kind of wing backs or something, a bit more aggressive. Again, at home, kind of certainly do that. Maybe away, step up more off. Like I say, I just found it worked. Found my players were kind of getting that ball back. And again, defensively was solid. And I think you can take a few more risks. When you're that solid defensively, conceding less than a goal a game, I think you can afford to take a few more risks at home, without a doubt. So that's the tactic then. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed creating it. Like I say, I was quite surprised, to be honest with you. It's certainly not something I played with or even used in a game. But I kind of being a Sunderland fan, I kind of thought, well, I know kind of season we had without a striker. Could I create a tactic that could have maybe won us the league? Probably not. Wishful thinking. But like I say, thanks for watching. That's it for this episode. I think I'm going to try and go away and think of another tactic to create. Obviously, FM25 is just around the corner, so it'll kind of be interesting to see kind of what that brings. The early signs for me personally look good. I'm not sure what everyone else thinks at the moment. I've heard a lot of kind of grumblings, but I kind of got a bit of faith in the SI team. I think they seem to do the research and find out what people are kind of like, and looking at the stats, which, you know, from a game like this, you probably expect the team to do. So really looking forward to that. But thanks for watching. Please do drop a like if you're enjoying the kind of content, the tactics, any kind of Journeyman series I'm currently doing. Like I say, please subscribe as well if you could. It does really just help the channel. Growing a little bit week by week. Trying to hit that magic 100 mark there now. But that's all for me. Thanks. Bye for now.